Yes, Sadhguru. Good morning, everyone. I welcome you all in this online series of Vihangam Yoga Interactive Rejuvenation session, which we have initiated to boost energy around when the global pandemic started and people are not allowed to go outside. Of course, for going inside, no one will stop you. By attending the session, you might be able to understand how to start a journey within yourselves. So please stay focused till the end of the session. If you're the first time here, please refer our Facebook and YouTube channel. All our previous session recordings are available. It will definitely help you to understand more about yoga, spirituality, health, meditation, etc. I'm Om Prakash on behalf of Vihangam Yoga Singapore team. We would like to extend our thanks to all our regular attendees of the session, all our newcomers, and our team members and their family to grace this occasion. For those who are not aware of Vihangam Yoga, allow me to introduce you. Vihangam Yoga Organization is an NGO, a pioneer in yoga and advanced meditation training, aiming at uplifting the human life in all aspects. The organization was established in year 1924 by His Holiness Sadhguru Sadafal Devji Maharaj, who discovered this wonderful meditation technique after 17 years of strenuous meditation practice. And today, under the guidance of President Sadhguru, His Holiness Sri Swatantra Devji Maharaj, Vihangam Yoga has reached around 45 countries and has transformed the life of more than 5 million disciples. Our international headquarters is situated on the bank of Holy River called Ganges in Allahabad in India, which is also known as Prayagraj. Amid global pandemic, Vihangam Yoga Singapore team has started daily online session of the breathing exercise, pranayam, and Vihangam meditation, as well as the online rejuvenation session and introductory session conducted every month. So coming to this online rejuvenation session, as agenda display over on the screen, it will take about 1.5 hours to complete. We will start the session by offering a prayer to the holy feet of the Master. The prayer will be in two parts. The first one will be the Swagat Gan, and the second one will be the Mangal Gan. After that, there will be a panel discussion, and today's topic of discussion is me and my relationship. It's a very interesting topic, and also a very experienced and knowledgeable person is going to share their views. It's going to be a great learning for all of us. Followed by the special comments and the closing prayer, which we call as Santi Part. At the end, there will be a vote of thanks from our team. So this is all about today's session. And before the session ends, you may have opportunity to ask a question based on today's discussion. So feel free to write in the chat box or just wait for the question and answer session at the end. Let's start the session. The first, we are going to offer a welcome song and small prayer for the world peace and prosperity. The prayer will display in the screen in Hindi and English. To offer a prayer in the holy feet of the Master and get blessing for this session, I would like to invite Pranav. Pranav is in his primary education. Other than his study, he is highly inclined towards Vihangam Yoga activities, very much interested in reading Svarved. So everyone please join the prayer. And Pranav, I hope you are ready. You can start now.
Jai Sadgurudev, I am going to offer Swagat Gan and Mangal Gan in the divine feet of Sri Sadgurudev. So now let's start Swagat Gan. आज स्वागत नित्य गुरुवर संत शुभागम आइए अध्यात्म विद्या दिव्य ज्योति सोमरस बरसाइए दोष दुर्गुण दूर करिके शुद्ध हंस बनाइए भेद गम गति ज्ञान गर्जन शक्ति द्वारे हटाइए, खुले द्वारा शब्द सागर, भक्त जन अनवाइए, जन सदा फल विश्व शिक्षक शान आने बचाइए, शान आने बचाइए. Now let's listen Mangalam. विश्व शांति नाम मंगल, परम गुरु को ध्याइए, वर्ग द्वंद्व अशांति दूर कर, भाव भेद मिटाइए, सार्वभौम समष्टि सत्ता ध्यात्म राज्य बनाइए, भेष भाषा भाव जगमय ज्ञान पर दर्शाइए, समृद्धि सुख शांति धरातल स्वर्ग भूमि बनाइए, विश्व शिक्षक जन सदा फल नीति स्वर अपनाइए, नीति स्वर अपनाइए. Thank you. Jai Sadguru.
Thank you, Pranav, for offering a prayer on the holy feet of the Master. It's really motivating to all of us. And now we are moving forward to the next activity, which I hope everyone is waiting eagerly. That is the panel discussion. As we all know today, the topic of discussion is me and my relationship. So this is a very interesting topic, and to initiate this talk, I would like to invite Mr. Srinivasji. Srinivasji joining us from Singapore is highly dedicated and regular practitioner of Vihangam meditation, has been associated with Vihangam Yoga from almost 2 years. In fact, I'm also learning many things from him. Over to you, Mr. Srinivasji, for initiate today's panel discussion. Thank you.
Thank you, Omji. The topic of today's panel discussion is a very profound one, and it's quite close to me, me and my relationships. I would like to introduce our esteemed panel for the discussion today, and all our panelists, can you please come on the video? Okay, let me introduce you to Rita ji. Have you joined? I cannot see you, Rita ji. Okay, Rita ji is there. Rita ji, if you can come on video, that will be good. And Vimal ji, spotlight. Please spotlight Vimal ji also. Okay, that's great. And Meghna. Okay, that's great. Now we are on the spotlight. Okay, let me introduce you quickly to the panel. Rita Pandey, she has been associated with Vihangam Yoga for quite a long time now and is a regular practitioner. She is the president of the Hindi Toastmasters Club of Singapore. She is also actively involved and loves doing social service. Welcome to the panel, Rita ji. Then I would like to introduce Vimal ji. Vimal ji likes to keep his introduction very simple and sweet, and he's joining us from Singapore. Actually, the whole panel today is joining us from Singapore. He's also associated with Vihangam Yoga Singapore and is a regular practitioner for more than 2 years now. And he's active in various international forums as well. Welcome to the panel, Vimal ji. Dr. Ankur is a practicing doctor as well as a thinker and a poet. He calls himself Ruh Safir for his poetic pen name. Welcome to the panel, Dr. Ankur. Meghna ji is a professional in supply chain and procurement, and is involved with a company over the Asia Pacific. She is also a poet and a thinker. So welcome, Meghnaji, to the panel. Now, the topic, as I said, it's something which we all live with: relationships. Father-son, mother-daughter, brother-sister, boss-subordinate, employer-employee, buyer-seller, driver-passenger, teacher-student. I mean, you name it. The relationship exists the moment they are either two living things. Today we focus only on two living things, though the relationships do exist between living and non-living things as well. I love my pen a lot, but yes, we are not talking into that today. We are talking about relations between two living human beings. And I would very strongly recommend that whoever is watching this on the Zoom as well as on the Facebook, please do go to the Vihangam Yoga Facebook page and watch the video of 12th September, the live online satsang that was held on 12th September. And Subhashji made a talk on the same topic. And he literally dissected the area of relationships in a very, very, I would say, interesting manner. Please go and watch that video. I would quickly bring in 2 points which he had mentioned, which are important to set the pace of today's discussion. First and foremost is that the emotion is a dynamic. Emotion is so dynamic, and we all play multiple roles in our day-to-day lives, which plays a very important role in relationship. So that is one area which we will focus on the panel discussion today. And another area which he mentioned is how the relationships are actually formed. Either the relationships are given or they're automatic. They're selfish, selfless. There's so many areas in which relationships can be defined. So today, in my first question to the panel, I would talk about the relationships are made in heaven, or sometimes we feel the relationships, to put it in simple terms, relations just happen. And sometimes the bonding between two people is beyond comprehension, So I would first like to invite Rita Pandeyji to throw a light on her from her own personal experience, if there is any such relationship that she wants to bring. Ritaji, for this first question, we keep about 4 to 5 minutes per person. So Ritaji, over to you.
Good morning, everyone, and thank you for Vihangam Yoga. Thank you, Mr. Srinivasji. The first question is a relationship of made in heaven, the bonding. The first question I'm going to answer for that. Relationships signifies a connection between two people. It is called a bond because it ties the life of two people together. From my understanding, all the relationships, be it a parent-child relationship or a couple relationship, are made in heaven. In my experience, our family is what makes me believe in this notion. We love each other selflessly and without any limit. There is no gain and loss equation in this. Maintaining this heaven is the work we do on earth by understanding, trust, and helpfulness. Vihangam Yoga have been a great help in enriching our family with the qualities of inner peace, increasing positive outlook necessary for better well-being of family, handling of situation in a calm way, better physical and mental health, which are important for tying the family together and ensure their happiness and well-being. This makes us see the silver lining and a focused and a strong mind that can tackle any problem that comes in the way. This is my understanding between the relationship with mother, parents and child, and within the couple. Thank you.
So very wonderfully said, Rita ji. I completely acknowledge that relationships, there is no gain, no loss. You don't look into gain and loss. A relationship just happens, and they are divine. And they are divine. There is definitely an element of an unknown, an element of the supreme involvement of the Almighty. I would now like to invite Dr. Ankur to shed light on this question.
Thank you, Srinivasji. So first of all, let me clarify. When we say relationships are made in heaven, are we saying that everything is hunky and dory in a relationship and everything is preordained? There is nothing wrong. You give and you get in equal measure. I think this will be a little bit of an overstatement, right? So when we say relationships are made in heaven, I think what we are trying to say is that everything is preordained. Whoever you meet in this life, whoever you interact, form a bond, form either relationship or relatability. I think I would like to stress on this is the difference between relationship and relatability. Sometimes the people that you relate to are much closer to you than one you have a relationship with. Okay. So yes, is it made in heaven or hell or whatever you want to say? For me, yes, there is some element of destiny that brings two people together. So let's define that first. Okay, now from the other question, I think every relationship starts from inwards. If you keep the finger outwards that what are you doing, giving, acting with me, I think you will go on a wild goose chase. So I will define every relationship starts. What is first of all my relationship with myself? You know, human beings are the only species who have been given the capacity to transform themselves from one conscious level to the next conscious level. Animals don't have, no other species has this experience. You are born with one conscious level, you die with that conscious level. But humans, having given this opportunity, now in our life, we keep on changing those conscious levels, either consciously or subconsciously. And then you attract similar relationships. You will see the pattern in the last 20, 30 years of your life. At every stage, you are attracting a similar kind of people, whether in work or in personal relationships. Okay. So I think the first process is how do you work on yourself? What is your mantra for your life? When you interact, for me, the three most important things when you interact with someone to form a relationship, working or personal, is, are you ready to shed off your vulnerabilities? A person who's too cagey, too guarded, will never be able to form a relationship. That will be a transactional relationship. Okay. So one, you have to be vulnerable. You have to show your inner core. If you want to play in the periphery, that's fine. That will be a transactional give and take relationship. Maybe you need for business or for some other. But when you form, wherever emotion comes, emotion cannot be formed with intellect. The nature of intellect is to cut, right? Emotion is formed by intelligence, organic intelligence. So I think that's my second point. Lose your vulnerabilities. And third, as they say, the greatest intimacy is when you feel understood. There is no bigger intimacy than that, right? You feel the best with the person who carries the same opinion about you that you have about yourself, right? So I think first of all, you have to form an opinion about yourself. If you don't have a good self-image, you are going to see the world through that mirror. Okay. So I know I have said so many contrasting things in my opening comment, but I think relationship cannot be simplified. It's not simplistic, it's very complex, but I just want to define some basic steps first and then we can move ahead, Srinivas.
Yes, please go ahead. That's a very interesting perspective.
Yeah. So whether I have had the experience of having a transcendental relationships, I think absolutely yes. I did not believe in that. Because, when two people come together, you say, let's match their horoscopes, let's match their date of birth and their sun signs. And I think what we forget is we humans are energy bonds. We carry vibration, right? So that is what two people bring together. It all happens at the level of energies and vibrations. And it's only when two people with similar energies and vibrations come together that you see an amplification of the frequency. Otherwise, you keep on scratching your head कि मतलब बात क्यों नहीं बन रही? वो इसलिए नहीं बन रही because the categories of different. There is no good or bad. First of all, I think we should stop this binary. There is a good person or a bad person. I read a very interesting statement that we never say children are good or bad, right? हम कहते हैं बच्चे सब अच्छे हैं. There are only bad behaviors, right? Similarly, I think for adults, we have to use this now that there are only different kinds of people and there are bad behaviors. There are no bad people. And then you have to find your flock, right? And that's where I think the first question also talks, I think, a little bit about soulmate, right? So yes, I do believe you do have soulmate, but please, you may not have only one soulmate. There can be multiple soulmates who might come in your life for a different purpose altogether. But one thing which will be common in them is that either they will teach you a lesson or they will love you in a way that you go to the next level of your consciousness. So that is my overall belief in intimate and emotional relationships.
Very amazing perspective, Dr. Rangur. And I did expect this very thoughtful expression from you, being a thinker and a poet. You always add different color to the topic, but as you rightly said, relationships are not simple. They're not simple things, and they're not something which we can discuss in 5 minutes. Relationships go beyond anybody's imagination as well. And I see a very interesting point which you said, vulnerability. Well, to be vulnerable in any relationship is very critical, because if you don't give in, you don't get. So I see that point. If you have to develop going to a relationship, you have to ek haath se thali nahi bhasti. You have to two, and either one goes up, one goes down, whichever way. I completely agree with that. Being understood is a very interesting point which you raised. We resonate with a like-mindedness, and that amplifies. Very interesting perspective. I would now come to Vimalji. Vimalji, let us have your opinion on me and my relationships, and relationships are made in heaven. What do you think, sir? Vimalji, unmute.
I think I will just try to narrate what I believe about me and my relationship. And I would like to take express my gratitude to the Holy Feet of Master for giving me a bit of wisdom and understanding about life and my life itself. And the condition at which I will be trying to say something, but again, my understanding about even me, and I would say my relationship is very, very minded. Even I don't understand. And I would solicit your kindness that my understanding, my statement might be very superficial or very, very shallow in nature. So what I understand about me and my relationship is basically, initially I was thinking what could be the line of communication for this kind of discussion. So something comes to my mind is relationship is something like moving in tandem with each other, or moving in kind of, complementing each other, or something. Suhas, you always mention a term, very nice word in Hindi that is called taratamyata. And I like that word, kind of relating to these words. So coming to various kind of relationship, what I foresee, relation could be me, family, and what the Srinivas has highlighted, relation with the self to self, or we can say about self to my own body. And it's like various body parts, even the mind, heart, and various other parts, kind of, they're maintaining a very fine homeostasis to keep it in balance. Similarly, our relation with the cosmos, I think that's another kind of thing, which is basically sometimes we have to observe those on the subtle level. So one thing what I personally think is that all kind of good relationship all has a common foundation. And I recall a quote from Anna Karenina by Leo Tolstoy. And the book, the start, it's not, this quote is not from the book, but this is the sentence from the book starts and says all happy families are all alike. And every unhappy family are unhappy in their own way. It's a very profound statement, and I will repeat, that says that all happy families are all alike, and every unhappy family is unhappy in its own way. What the statement, what the context here is, that every happiness or every good relationship has a common foundation, and that common foundation is basically, I believe, that is common. And in my view, it's not could be one, it could probably many. And if you ask me that have experienced everything, then probably my word may fumble, and I'd say probably no, I've not experienced it yet. But one thing, what I personally, I think I have experienced is the moderation in everything. Moderation in basically the food, moderation in sleeping, moderation in work. Again, coming to the statement, the topic itself is the me and my relationship. Here is the first term is the me, and my relationship is the secondary. So if I'm talking about me, then probably this statement might appear egoistic, that I'm talking about me. But in fact, this whole context, me and my relationship, does not exist if I don't talk about me. So I'm talking about me. So I'm trying to relate those all moderation about the food, moderation about everything, moderation about work, moderation about thought. Then I exist, and then my relationship exists. So I think that the moderation in everything, like food, thought, can we imagine that the relationship will exist if we don't have moderation in thoughts? We have seen in the last century, we have seen the World War I, World War II. We have seen where the 50 million people, or more than that, probably were killed. Do you think that would have happened if there would have been a moderation in thoughts? There had been probably a few hundred years back, there was an An Lushan rebellion where the world 1/6 population were killed. China 1/6 population was killed at that point in time. If there would have been a moderation in thought, probably that could have happened. I don't think so. So I think that the moderation is the important element of me and my relationship, what I believe. And again, this moderation again derives its energy from the awareness, I should say, the consciousness. So in my view, the foundation at which every good relationship exists or stands, the foundation remains the same. I would say I don't pretend that I know everything. Probably I know just a bit of the information. And what I think the moderation is that thing. Probably there could be many which I may experience in the future, or probably I may not experience it either. But the moderation is the second line of reasoning. And then third line of reasoning, what I foresee is the awareness, is the consciousness of that relationship. Probably something like we say, I mentioned about the moderation in food. And the moderation in food is the foundation of my own existence. Sometimes it is often said that, if we have a kind of moderate food, we will have a sensible awareness. So what here we believe that is awareness, food comes first, then the awareness comes second. But I believe that awareness comes first, then the food comes second. So the point here I'm trying to make is, when we become aware, everything becomes sensible. Whether it is sensible food, whether this is sensible work, whether this is sensible thought, everything becomes more moderation, the moderation kicks in. So in conclusion, what I believe is it all starts with the awareness, leads to motivation, and then it leads to any kind of healthy relationship. Back to you, Srinivas.
Vimalji, you have taken us to a completely different realm, and you, by using the word cosmos itself, you have clearly said that relationships do happen in an area which is beyond our imagination, beyond our thinking, and you have so well articulated and connected the fact that awareness, most important thing is awareness. You have converted awareness to be the first foremost thing. Then comes sensibility. It automatically comes into various parts, including relationships and how we look at things as me. First, as me, how I look at things. Do I look at it with a sensible view? Do I look at it with motivation? Is there any motivation in whatever I do? So that's a very, very interesting thought, Vimalji. I would now invite Meghnaji to have your thoughts.
I think everything that I wanted to say has already been said mostly. I do believe that relationships are made somewhere, like what Ankuji said, that heaven or earth or somewhere. I don't know that, but everything is predetermined. That is my view. We do get people in our lives for a purpose. Everything, all relationships have a purpose. There is no relationship where you would say that, oh, this is a selfless, or this relationship is beyond any purpose. People come into our lives to teach us a lesson, something. If your soul is trying to learn a lesson, then you will have to go through a specific task, specific way to get to that lesson. So many years ago, I had read this book called Many Lives, Many Masters. And that book, it was talking about how your soul, you have a soul which keeps on reincarnating till it has learned all the lessons that it is supposed to learn before you get into that which everybody wants to get to, and which all we call about is nirvana. So that, until unless you reach that stage, you will keep on getting people in your life who will teach you the same lesson over and over again. If your life lesson for this life, and I do believe in multiple reincarnations and lives, from a scientific perspective, it might look slightly different. If I have to learn a lesson in self-awareness, like what Vimalji was saying, in awareness, I will get people in my life who will teach me that lesson. If I have to learn a lesson in being patient, I will meet people, there will be relationships which will test my patience. And until unless, so if I have met one person who is testing my patience, um, until unless I learn to be patient in my entire life, even if I discontinue any association with that person, the next person I will meet will have the same impact. Till you learn the lesson that you're meant to learn, you will continue. It's a pattern that will keep on forming. That is what I believe. I definitely believe that it is a repetitive pattern till your soul is satisfied that as a soul, I have learned all the lessons that I'm supposed to learn. Ankurji also said something very interesting about vibrations. So when we meet people, we vibrate with the same person or similar thought process. I have a slightly different view on that, and that's the prevalent one as well. That we vibrate with people from the who are different to us, because we are trying we and that requires a lot of self awareness also. Maybe we say that we are not self aware of what we want, but as a soul, as a person, we know what we want in our life. We may not consciously know about it, but subconsciously we are aware what we need, what we want. So I will be attracted towards people, or I will meet people who can fulfill any gaps which are there. So if I am not a patient person, I will be automatically drawn to people who are patient and who have the listening as skills to enhance my listening skills. So that's where the match comes in, and that's where you are able to become a wholesome person per se. That's my view. And I think that's where, even in the Vedic times, that we talk about the horoscope matching specifically for marriages, when we talk about horoscope matching, is because you have to try and see if they are meeting all the requirements. If you are very different people, you will have a lot of arguments, or you will have a very different, but it's not a given thing. I have seen people who do not have any commonality, but they get along beautifully because they complement each other. That's what even Vimalji was also saying, that you have that complementing relationship. For example, me and my brother are stark different to each other. We are absolutely chalk and cheese kind of people. But we used to, and as I have no issues in saying this, but as children we used to fight like anything. We used to be at each other every day. But now we complement each other in our strengths. If I need some advice, I will go to him. If he needs some advice, he will come to me on topics that he is more aware of or I am more aware of. So those are the discussions we can have, and that's where we build our learning as a soul and grow. So, all the relationships that we get in our life are there to teach us a lesson, one way or another. Sometimes it's not a pleasant lesson, sometimes it's a beautiful relationship and beautiful lesson.
Brilliant thought, Meghnaji, on this. I completely see a perspective that is opposite to what Dr. Ankur has mentioned, and that's a very interesting way to put it. I mean, in relationships, we always say opposites attract. It's always been a common statement.
Srinivasji,
So I would invite you on this topic.
okay.
And that opposites attract may not be because of any attraction, that may just be to learn a lesson in life, that you have done this same mistake previously, either in this life or in the past life, but because you haven't learned the lesson from that experience, one more chance. So you will keep getting into those chances till you get to where your soul wants to be.
Very interesting perspective. I would bring Dr. Ankur on this before I give my closing statement.
Srinivas, I believe there is some kind of echo from your side.
Yeah, echo. I think it's coming from Meghna's thing.
Okay.
Sorry,
So,
Okay, now she's muted. It should be okay.
my mistake.
yeah. So, Meghnaji, I agree with 90% of what you said. Right? I totally believe that the people come in your life to teach a lesson, a good one or a bad one, a tasty one or a sour one. Okay. I think we have to distinguish role-based relationships versus soul-based relationships. I think we have to settle this account of karmic accounts with some people and spiritual accounts with some people. Unless if you keep on entering into role-based relationships, the karmic account will never be zero. And as you said, then nature, destiny will keep on giving you such kind of people कि जब तक तू नहीं सीखेगा ये मार पड़ती रहेगी. ठीक है? That is one part. दूसरा जब आपने कहा opposites attract, मैं कहता हूँ opposites attract but similars interact, right? So, and I think in a couple relationship you have to traverse this hierarchy. अब horoscopes में लाते हैं, what is the funda? Funda is compatibility. To me, this is such a bare minimum requirement of compatibility, right? If a block is fitting into a piece, that's fine. Okay, should people two come together? Not only on that criteria. Two people can be perfectly compatible, going on with the business of their lives, but may not be happy together. So I think the next level from compatibility is jahan pe similarity matters, you go to camaraderie. That okay, fine. From compatibility, now we have a good working, we are friends, we go on business of life, mutual respect for each other, but you are still not my soulmate. Then comes the next level of coupledom. So for me, these are the three levels: compatibility, camaraderie, and coupledom. And what I believe is the pinnacle of interpersonal relationship in an emotional, in a romantic, or in a couple relationship is coupledom, where that's where you are a simple harmonic motion. Okay, so I think because we are all still very love based, so we are again talking more of interpersonal relationships rather than
Yeah.
mother-child or working relationship. But
Yeah.
yeah.
No, and I think when you talk about harmony, harmony is different than compatibility, in my view.
Yeah.
You can be opposite to each other, but still be in sync and be harmonious.
Yeah.
To give a very basic example, I may be affiliated to one political party versus the other person is affiliated to other political party. This is a standard difference that happens between couples and in families. But there you can still work in harmony. You can still, and that is where probably the lesson comes in, that you can still function in an environment where the other thing or the other person is very different to you. How do you build that, and how do you create that harmony between each other, is where I think my difference in your and my opinion differs.
No, absolutely.
So
I think I recommend this book to everyone, Amish Tripachi's Dharma. It's such a lovely book, and I found this beautiful word in this: respectful disregard.
Correct.
I think this is what we have to learn in relationship, that के
Yes.
मतभेद ठीक है पर मनभेद नहीं होना चाहिए.
Yes.
So
And
that is what is respectful.
yeah. And that's where I think that you, even if you are not the same, you don't have the same thought process, you can still be harmonious. And that is where the next level of maturity comes through, that the person has the maturity to keep that thought process slightly different from what your relationship is. And that's where you build those soul relationships and those. And you said one thing, that everything role-based versus non-role-based relationships. I think most of the relationships, majority, have a role to play. Even the parent-child relationship is a role-based relationship. If they have to teach you a lesson in this life, you will be born to them as their child, or you will have them as your child, because you need to learn that lesson in your life. That is my
let's keep this discussion. We have the debate outside.
Ankurji and I need to have a separate
Wonderful
conversation around this.
Having said that, this is to summarize this. What I'm looking at in what both your perspective, what Vimalji said and what Ritaji said, is whether we call it roles, whether we call it vibrations. Point is that there is something beyond our human comprehension that is built into a relationship, and that becomes apparent in the points of view of all the four of you. So I acknowledge the wonderful comments from all of you on this. And just going down to the Vimalji and Ritaji, do you want to add anything to this question? The first point.
No, thank you, Niwasji, because all experienced people are here. I'm very new in this field.
No worries. Let's move on to the second question, which basically is there something that we as humans need to do to take a relationship forward? Do you think it's always said, ek relationship ko sinchna padta hai, you have to put some fertilizer into a relationship, you have to do something to keep the relationship on? Is that something which is necessary? Vimalji, I would like to have your thoughts on this first.
Thank you for putting me at the first place now. That's really challenging, actually. What I understand is there something that we need to fertilize, or probably we need to water that relationships to grow? Probably, not probably, I think definitely I should say yes, because that's the law of nature, that nothing grows without watering it, nothing grows without putting fertilizers, be it plant or be it humans growth or be it our subconscious level growth or any kind of growth. It does not happen. I mean, like sometimes what I think is that it often said that, you are destined to be in that way. So if something comes like this, then it's okay, I'm destined to be in that way. So forget it, just, sit idle and then destiny will bring it there. But do you think that is the way forward? I don't think so. Probably we are here to enhance our knowledge or wisdom or whatever we call it. We are here to gain that wisdom, and that's why we are here. So we could have sit idle, switch off the Zoom, and we have been sitting somewhere else. Then probably we would not have been watering something. We are here to water something. We are here to put the fertilizer in our own growth, our own thing. But there is another level. What I wish to say is about sometimes the awareness kicks in. Sometimes that awareness, which I was a little bit, saying in my first part as well. When we have that awareness, probably that the watering and putting the fertilizers become natural. Like suppose when I realize that I need something, probably when we realize that I'm lacking here, or probably when we realize that there is something to improve. That's a part of awareness, and that comes first. And then the watering and putting the fertilizer comes in. So there's something wrong with my Zoom. Okay, so yes, I do agree that be it relationship, be it any natural things on this planet, probably some other planet might have a different thing that I don't know. But on this planet, I think be it relationship, be it any natural stuff, that must be watered. And that the watering comes again, that the foundation again comes through the awareness. That is
Wonderful thought. So I see that your perspective is that as a nature, everything needs input. And that's a very interesting thought. And likewise, a relationship, as you say, needs to be nurtured. It has to be, something needs to be put into it, either from both the sides or from one side. But definitely, there has to be something that has to be constantly given to a relationship. I would invite Meghna on this one because she was on a spiritual level on the discussion on the first question. But this is question more onto the earth. So let's consider, come to the earth. Forget about going to the conscious and subconscious level. On the earth, do we need to put anything into a relation to make it, or do you think it's no? A relationship is there. It just grows, like you said about your brother, and you just fought without knowing what that you're fighting at that stage. You never thought.
We knew why we were fighting. We just did not like each other. Simple.
Correct, right? So the point is that at that moment, when you were, that relationship today, what you all have was built up, there was nothing like you thought about consciously putting something into this relationship. It just happened because he had a different perspective, you had a different perspective.
Yeah.
So on this, coming down to the perspective of human to human, at a materialistic point of view on the earth, do you think there is some nurturing that is required to any relationship?
Absolutely, because you have to nurture each and every relationship that you have, be it a parent-child, be it a sibling, be it anything. In today's world, for example, if you don't talk to your friends for many years, many months, you can connect back with them, but that's not a relationship. You will connect back with the person, but to build, go back to the same friendship that you had when you were a teenager or when you were in a different era, you will still have to put in the effort of making the calls, making discussions, meeting, having an understanding. You will have to make that effort. So that effort, that nurturing has to be there. Now, how much of that is effortless? I should not say nurturing and effort in the same sentence, because effort can be considered as something exhausting. The nurturing, when it becomes effortless, is where it can be a blossoming relationship. When you have to put in a lot of undue effort, or where you have to, when it becomes a burden on you to put in that effort or to do nurturing in that relationship, that is where relationships can become toxic, and that's where it becomes goes downhill. So nurturing is very important in all relationships, whatever we have, be it my relationship with my parents, with my siblings, with my friends, with my family, with my loved ones. If I don't call them, and there is also human nature that, oh, if that person doesn't call me, why should I? The I is very important in all our lives. We say we have to be selfless, we shouldn't be selfish, but we have to be selfish. We have to protect ourselves first and ensure that we ourselves are sane before we can go and nurture anything. So when you have that unnecessary or disproportionate effort, I should not say unnecessary, disproportionate effort between two people, that is where the differences come. So your effort has to be met with effort from there. Nurturing has to be met with some effort of acceptance and some effort of nurturing from the other side as well. So it is absolutely necessary to have nurturing in all relationships that we have.
Very interesting perspective. The nurturing, if it becomes effortless, it becomes a blossoming relationship. And when the nurturing becomes a burden, then there's something that strains up the relationship. Just to add a twist to this for a second question, while I'm looking at Dr. Ankur with a different perspective on this, but question remains the same. Does nurturing also mean communication? Dr. Ankur.
So, Meghnaji, I think you copied my notes. You said everything that I had to say, so I have to say something different now. Because I agree with all of you that what you said. So I will say something different. I will call out 4 words: attention, intention, attachment, and dependence. Let me first talk about the binary of attention and intention. I think every relationship has a bedrock of these 2 qualities. And see, attention is always rooted in the present and intention is always rooted in the future, right? So anything that you don't give attention to, it withers away, it wilts. Okay, so yes, every relationship needs your attention. But what also matters is what is your intention out of this relationship, which is based in future. What do I want? Where do I want to take this relationship? What is my broad idea or my vision for this relationship going forward? If you are planning, you are thinking maybe 5 years from now, 2 years from, who knows where we would be, and that means you already have that doubt of intention for future in the mind, and that will start affecting your attention to the relationship. So I think this is and this happens at a very subtle level. Okay, so one is this binary of attention versus intention. Second, what Meghnaji said is nurturing. Now, nurturing, it's a very tightrope walk, because I believe there are compulsive givers and there are compulsive takers. Okay, and sometimes some people are raised or nurtured by their parents in such a way that they are entitled to getting, right? And when these children become adults, they only know one side of nurturing, which is receiving nurturing, right? So giving wala concept hi nahi. So I think this is very important, that what is your idea of nurturing? You nurture me and I'll be happy. This is also nurturing, right? So in an adult, this relationship only works in parent-child, where parent can unconditionally, selflessly nurture the child. But I think parents should instill in their children. You cannot be like, वो कहते हैं ना कि नदी मीठी क्यों होती है? क्योंकि वो देती है. सागर खारा क्यों होता है? क्योंकि वो लेता रहता है. Right? So that part. So I think that's a very important part, that nurturing has to be mutual. And एक और बहुत subtle बात मैं बोलूंगा, what are you nurturing me with? Maybe you are very happy in providing me food, taking care of my physical comforts. Is that what I need as a nurturing? Or are you nurturing so that I blossom to my maximum capability? For me, that is nurturing relationship. Everything else is physical comfort, taking care, khayal rakhna. No. Do you recognize what is my soul's calling? Or forget soul's calling. We have to keep it real, right? No spiritual stuff in this question, right? So do you know, right, that where I can go? What's my maximum goal? And final thing I will say is, some people misquote this dependence or attention as dependent. And pyar ka measure is dependent. I'm dependent on you, so I love you. Right? That is where you are binding the other person into toxicity. What works in a relationship is interdependence, not dependence. I am attached to you, so I love you. Sorry. In a relationship, it should be detached concern. Okay. So I'll just shut up here because I can go on and on this.
Thank you, Dr. Ankur. That's a very interesting perspective. And I loved the way you said nothing meet here and Sagar Khara hai with that perspective. And this is a very interesting point, the compulsive givers and compulsive takers. And that's what kind of adds or subtracts in any kind of relationship. I would like to invite Ritaji to the same question, but your perspective, being a Vihangam yoga practitioner for many years, how do you see that Vihangam yoga meditation or its practices? If you can add a little bit on the Vihangam yoga side into the relationship and this question of nurturing the relationships. Ritaji, I would love to hear your perspective.
Thank you, Srinivasji. First, I would like to say about the relationship, why nurtured consciously. Like Vimalji said, Meghnaji and Ankurji, I mean, different perspectives. In my thought, in my perspective, relationships are like plants. Like Vimalji said, relationships are like plants. Conscious nurture is what makes it a strong tree. A tree is well able to take care of itself, but the smaller plants need care and love to grow. Similarly, any relationship need conscious nurturing to grow deep and strong roots, which becomes unbreakable in later stages. The food for the relationship is understanding, honesty, and trust. For this, we need a calmer and positive outlook and better sense of well-being, both mentally and physically. These qualities I have enhanced with the help of Vihangam Yoga. It has been crucial in making my outlook calmer and more positive. Thanks to Vihangam Yoga. Thank you, Srinivasji.
Very interesting that what you say about the small plants and the smaller plants need more affectionate and more nurturing than the trees, which are more able to take care of themselves. But even if a tree definitely needs a level of nurturing, a level of taking care, even otherwise we can see big trees getting uprooted as well. So I still see that the perspective of nurturing coming and how Vihangam Yoga has been helping you. Vimalji, would you like to add anything with the perspective of Vihangam Yoga to this one, from your experience of the past more than a couple of years involved in Vihangam Yoga, to the nurturing of the relationship, how Vihangam Yoga has helped you?
I think I have in my previous discussion also, I brought to the awareness, or I think when we talk about or when we present on the platform of Vihangam Yoga, and when we talk about the consciousness, we talk about the awareness, then we know where we are leading to. And we are leading towards the meditation part. Basically, because doing meditation, basically, it enhances your awareness. Slowly it becomes bigger. I don't know how bigger it can be because I personally have not realized those things. But I feel that, earlier it was maybe tiny, it has made a little bigger, probably with the time it may be a bit bigger. So the point I'm trying to make is, yes, it does. I mean, while doing meditation, it enhances consciousness, it enhances awareness. And what Ankurji has said about the child and the parents' relationship, I believe I'm a bit particular about with my daughter, especially that. Yes, I mean, she is at age of 3.5, and the ego has kicked her inside, and I can observe that it's her ego is basically, I mean, with the time what the ego starts coming in at that point of time. But she's not aware, but probably I'm a little bit aware that it's that ego is basically torturing her or torturing the demand, probably. Then sometimes I think the awareness, basically, which derives its energy from the meditation, I should say, asked me to, just, push it. That, how, from where it is deriving its energy, and probably with the time ahead, it won't be something like what you need, what you will get. No, it doesn't. The world is, I don't think the world, that will not be the problem of the world, actually. We have to be very much aware that there is a limitations of everything, limitations of thought, limitation of probably everything. So I think that's the one thing which I observe in my relationship with my own daughter at this point of time. And again, that derives its, underlying foundation is that, what we are doing every day in our day-to-day life.
Thank you, Vimalji, for that perspective that Vihangam Yoga meditation does improve our awareness of whatever is around us at a subconscious level. So that definitely adds to the building up of our relationship. I personally have been a Vihangam Yoga meditation practitioner from more than 2 years now. And I can definitely add here that the regular practice, I always use this word, regular disciplined practice. I again add this word, regular disciplined practice of Vihangam Yoga meditation has definitely over the years helped me in my relationships, whether with my colleagues, whether with my family, whether with my wife, with my children. That whole perspective with the calmness, whether you call it what, as you rightly said, you don't know what is happening inside you. But Vihangam Yoga's practice has definitely been a big fertilizer to my relationships as I go forward. I will quickly move to the last question, but let's look at it, keep it as short as possible. Is there anything called a bad relationship? I would start with Meghna.
I don't think there is anything called as a bad relationship. There are bad situations. You can get into a bad situation. And again, going back to my first point, if you have not learned from that mistakes that you have made in the past, if you haven't learned your lessons, you will get into that cycle of getting into the same kind of situations over and over again. It also comes back to your point of nurturing, how you're nurturing, which direction you're nurturing that relationship. If there is a lot of dependence, like what Ankuji said, the intention is different. If the intention is to get something out of it, material out of it, or to have a very selfish, and again, I do say selfish and selfless. I'm contradicting what I said earlier, but there has to be a little bit of detachment, that what Ankuji mentioned. There has to be an intention that you're talking about. Cannot always be that, oh, if only something comes out of this, I will nurture this relationship. When that happens, you will land up into situations which are bad situations. And that's where you have to be very careful of what you're nurturing the plant or what you're nurturing your relationship with. If you nurture something with hatred, you will get hatred. Jo bote hain, wahi phal nikalta hai. So that's what is very, very important.
Do you think there is anything called a bad relationship, Vimalji?
when
A short one.
when
Yes, no.
questions come, bad relationship, I think I got many questions in my mind. Are we talking about no relationship, or are we talking about discordant relationship, or are we talking about, no good relationship? I don't know what. But I fully concur with Meghnaji. It's a bad situation, I think, what she has highlighted. Because I think the bad situation basically is the situation where we perceive. I'm just saying, using the word perceive, because I think in reality that does not happen, but we just feel it, that that relationship was bad, but in fact not. I think I will just give one quick example if we have a time. There was experiment about the tapper and listener. When the person is to tap and the listener is to listen, and the listener was asked, "Do you guess what the tapper is tapping?" Something like tapping. In that situation, the tapper felt that the listener will understand 40% of the times, but they have understood just 2% of the time. If I tap multiple times, let's say, probably say, is the person listener is an idiot. It may, because you're not listening, not understanding my viewpoint. But in reality is that you are understanding because that is playing in your mind. And the person on the other side is not understanding because that is not playing in his mind. So this is a situational issue. The situation is basically it's a bad situation case. And if I say the person on that side is an idiot, I think it will ruin the whole relationship. So I think the point I'm trying to make here is that, yes, I mean that it's a situation which is, making that relationship bad, but in fact there is no place of that bad relationship. It's just perceiving that situation or perceiving that relationship as bad. That is all.
Very interesting. Rita ji, can I have your comment on, is there anything called a bad relationship?
Thank you, Srinivasji. Sometimes bad relationship due to some misunderstanding or lack of communication. Bad relationship is like a dead flower. A flower lacking care, sunshine and love. Similarly, a relationship turns bad when it lacks the qualities of understandings, mutual respect, trust and care. Bad relationships not pre-made. It is by our lack of efforts or understanding, which is Paul's it. To enhance a relationship, we need to see more positives in each other than the negatives. Be conscious in putting efforts to make it stronger. This is my perspective. Thank you.
Very well said, Rita ji. We've got 2 votes in there is no bad relationship. We've got 1 vote in, yeah, there is a bad relationship. Dr. Akul.
Srinivasji, I am going to be very provocative here, and I am going to disagree with all my panelists. Yes, there are bad relationships, right? You cannot be idealist about it. What do you call a parent who is into abusing the child? Physical abuse. Doesn't physical abuse exist? People still carry on with that relationship. Isn't it? You just, it's a bad situation. It's a bad relationship, right? So yes, bad relationships is the reality. Now the question is it unilaterally bad or bilaterally bad? Because there are so many aspects to a bad relationship. Narcissism, controlling, gaslighting, insecure partner, paranoid partner. These are all unilaterally bad. There is a victim and there is a perpetrator. It's bad only from the angle of the victim. Perpetrator is happy, right? So you have to identify what it is. And then what is mutually bad? Now, bad is an extreme word for this. I will say mutually uneasy relationship. And we have to identify. I'm a doctor, so I look at the warning signs, symptoms. What are the symptoms of an uneasy relationship? 3 symptoms. Hurt. If you are getting hurt repeatedly. Second, you don't feel enough. And third, self-doubt. If you have these 3, you are in an uneasy relationship. It's very important to tell people everything is not hunky-dory made in heaven. If you are feeling this, and please don't ignore your feeling. Never ignore your feeling. If something is not feeling right, it is not right. So I think it's very important to tell people what are the practical aspects of an uneasy relationship. Yes, there exist uneasy relationships, there exist bad relationships. Yes, there are extreme bad situations, and then they become less bad or good or average. But if in a relationship your baseline is average or good, I will not call it as a good relationship. It's an uneasy bordering on the bad relationship.
I
Thank
do
you.
think that in those situations, there is no relationship. All that you said, there is
Let's rest that, Meghna. I know this is a
Yeah.
discussion that is so profound and it can continue on and on. What I would quickly like to summarize before I bring in our expert on this relationships topic, which Subhashji is on the spotlight right now. But to just summarize what we discussed so far, so Subhashji can come up with his words on that. So what I can see is relationships. There is definitely something beyond our human perception. There is something divine. There is something beyond our conscious understanding of a relationship. And what I can also hear aloud from the panel is a relationship definitely needs nurturing in whichever format. And finally, there is, of course, a divided opinion on whether there is a bad relationship or it is a bad situation, which is equally distributed on both the sides. But having said that, relationships definitely matter to all of us. And I would hand over for expert comments on this particular topic to Subhashji. Subhashji, welcome.
Thank you very much, Srinivasji, for being me here. And once again, thank you very much, everyone, for your contribution to a larger extent. Please, if I'll be allowed, I'll say a few lines in Hindi first, which I will explain in English also, before I speak anything else. आना जाना पीना जाना सोना और उठना बैठना खाना जाना पीना जाना सोना और उठना बैठना भाई माँ बाप को सभी को तूने जाना है इष्ट जाना मित्र जाना अपना पराया जाना लड़ना झगड़ना तूने धीरे धीरे जाना है तो सब कुछ तूने जाना पर एक बात नहीं जाना जहाँ की तुझे जाना है ओ जहाँ की तुझे जाना है. These words are not mine. This is the current master Sadhguru Swatantra Dev Ji Maharaj sings many a time, where he mentions that we, being a human, try to understand, know, learn things from all different sides, all the relationships, all the activities, and everything we fight on, we learn things, we put full 100%, maybe sometimes 200% to know things in our day-to-day life, but probably we have never ever touched to understand, to know where ultimately we have to go. All of us are probably deviated from that. We are just finding 10 minutes, half an hour, 1 hour in one day, hardly maximum to know, understand, try really where I want to go, where I have to go. I'm not talking about development in your business. I'm not talking about promotion in your office. I'm not talking about going from one country to another. I'm talking about the objective of the life. That's what the indication of Sadhguru Siddhartha Dev Ji Maharaj, as well as the current master Swatantra Dev Ji Maharaj, has mentioned. In this respect, we are talking about the relationship. We are talking about the bonding, good, bad, or whichever way, in threads, small threads, big threads, doesn't matter which thread we are talking about. But there has been none in this world so far whose relationship always been completely bad with everyone and whose relationship has always been good with everyone. There is none. We always lie in between these two extremes. Do you know why? What I understand is because we are away from the reality. Our existence is on a relationship. a relationship with that supreme being, Brahm, Parabrahm, which is inside us, situated, based. We never felt it. We never tried to make a relationship with that entity. We are finding everything outside. Every nooks and corners, we are trying to match and find whether my relationship is good with this person, whether my relationship is bad with this person, whether the situation is good, situation is bad, or whichever way we talk about. But ultimately, we never try to find the origin through which we are all connected. All. We have differences only because we are looking things outside. All of us are soul, and all of us are connected with that Brahma and Supreme Being, the Parabrahm. When everyone is a part of that, then how can we are so different from each other? And why? It's the reason because we are looking things from outside based on our own desire, our own habits, our own activities and karma. We have invited all those differences from each other. Swamiji has mentioned in Swarved very specific thing, which I don't want to quote that couplet itself, but I'm just letting you know the meaning of that couplet. What he says that all the relationships we talk about in this world, even we are talking about the child and mother relationship, a father and child relationship, husband and wife relationship, sister and brother's relationship, any relationship we talk about, if you really understand it, you will find that there is a selfishness involved into this. It doesn't matter which relationship we are talking about. Till the time when we are seeing through from outside. If we try to connect ourselves, if we make our relationship from the soul, at the soul level, I'm more than 100% sure that there would not be any difference between or among any people in terms of relationship. No matter what situation is outside, good, bad, how your emotion is, who is behaving which way, doesn't matter, because connectivity is at the root, the soul. In this, our day-to-day life, we are all being carried in a boat. We are all in a boat, where in that boat, different people have joined us from different sides, from different area. And boats have different, say here in Singapore, we have what we call, we go from Marina Bay Sands to Boat Quay, and then other places, there are small boats going on, right? There are small hop arounds. Someone will get into it, someone will get out from it, but the boat is going on. It continues, right? So what happens is, those who are getting inside the boat, you at that time point are together with them. And at one stop, some of those people will go out. Again, some people will come. So none of them are linked with that boat. In a way, they're coming and going, but for shorter time period, we are at one point talking to each other, knowing each other, even just without saying anything. We are just seeing each other, observing each other, and that's it. So that's how the relationship we have. We have a life given to us with a specific purpose, a duration has been given. And time to time, different travelers come to this boat, meet us, a purpose is fulfilled, and then go away. Same thing we do also. And because of this temporary nature of this activity, we have been finding the differences in our relationship. Why? Because there is no stability. The stability comes when we get connected to the source. And without connecting to that source, that doesn't mean that once I am connected to the source, that doesn't mean that rest other things, all other relationship, the relationship with my mother, my father, my wife, my kids, my friends, it's all just vanished. No, it doesn't. It doesn't. It's still there. Everything will be there. But that source connectivity will pump all those relationships to make it the robust one. And then I will never ever have any kind of problem. But that will be true only when every single person tries to perform similar basis. Then each and everyone will connect to that source, and the source energy flows to each one of us to make us realize what we are doing, how we are doing, and we will not have any problem in our relationship. So in one way, I definitely agree with each one of you where Dr. Gupta mentioned that about soulmate, right? It may not be necessary that one person has only one soulmate at a time. The person may feel having more than one soulmate. True. But in my opinion, that soulmate relationship is incomplete. The soulmate relationship can only be complete when it is at the level of soul. And coming to the level of soul is not that possible just like that. And when we reach out to the level of soul to have a soulmate connectivity, the first connection will be with him, not any other people, because that is the source for each and every soul. So it is always like this. First, you connect to that, and from there, the connectivity goes to all others. But if we know this, if we understand this, and if we can imbibe this scientific understanding in our day-to-day life, I believe we would be safe in our each and every relationship. Thank you very much, Nimas.
Interesting perspective, and you always have the amazing last words, Subhashji. Thank you so much. And I would hand over the podium back to Omji to take it forward from here.
So thank you, Srinivasji, for leading this today's discussion. And thank you all the panelists. We have learned many interesting things today. So thank you, Rita ji. Thank you, Dr. Ankar Gupta ji. Thank you, Bimal Kumar ji. And thank you, Meghna ji. And also thank you, Subhashji, for sharing your thoughts and also connecting us within ourselves. Now, moving forward, which is special comments. And I would like to invite Mr. Pudaji, Mr. G.R. Pudar, directing Vihangam Yoga Singapore team. And you are one of the great leaders and always inspiring us. Over to you, Mr. Pudar.
Jai Shri Sadgurudev. Rightly, as Sri Subhashji had mentioned, that our main objective, the soul, what is the objective of the soul? Me means my soul, relations with the outside world and inside our own journey and to meet the Supreme Soul. Because this is the main objective. The Swamiji, Sri Sadafal Devji Maharaj, has done the 17 years hard penance in Himalaya and other places, and they designed 5 stages of meditation. First stage of meditation, we control from the outside. The second stage of meditation, we control from the inside. The inside journey is very important. The third stage, the opening of the Samdwar. Fourth stage, the Sadguru Bhagwan Darshan. And the fifth stage, we have to meet the Supreme Soul. So this is the Vihangam Yoga is help in every respect in maintaining the good relationship from the inside with the Supreme Soul and maintaining the good relationship with the outside. Because this 5 stage is meditation is not so simple. Because Swamiji, the first stage of meditation has taken 3 years time to complete that first stage of meditation. Because the Swamiji has mentioned in the survey, पंच छिति है योग की एक जन्म नहीं पाए, पंच छिति है योग की एक जन्म नहीं पाए, कोई कोई गुरु के लाल हैं अंत महल में जाए, प्रथम दूर्त्य कोई तीर्थ में छिति चतुर्थ कोई पाए, धीर वीर कोई हंस है अंत महल में जाए. Because our main objective to meet the God permanently. That is why this meditation the Swamiji has given. अद्भुत मार्ग योग विहंगम मैं तुमको बतलाऊंगा, यदि विधिवत तुम साधन करियो अमर लोक पहुंचाऊंगा, महाप्रभु अनंत दया में उनसे तुम्हें मिलाऊंगा, कहें सदा फल परमानंदा आवागमन मिटाऊंगा. So this is the way The relationship outside will be go away once we inside start the journey inside, and ultimately, so we will free from salvation of life. जन्म मरण के चक्र से थक कर ले विश्राम. So यह कहते हुए जय श्री सद्गुरुदेव. I close my talk. जय श्री सद्गुरुदेव.
Thank you, sir, for your regular support. Under your shelter, we are growing day by day. Now, let's offer a closing prayer on the holy feet of the Master. Prayer which we call is Santi Part. To offer a prayer, I would like to invite Pranav Pateria. As already mentioned earlier, Pranav like to read, surveyed, and interested in yoga and meditation. Over to you, Pranav, for Santi Part. You can start now.
जय सद्गुरुदेव. शांति पाठ. विराग त्याग की शांति हो, उदासीनता शांति, सेवा जित शिष्य शांति हो, सत्य शांति हो शांति. हे प्रभु शांति स्वरूप हो, शांति शांतिमय शांति, शांति शांति जन शांति हो, पूर्ण शांतिमय शांति. हे प्रभु शांति प्रदान कर, दूर हो सर्व अशांति, देव सदा पर शांतिमय, शांति शांति सुख शांति, शांति शांति सुख शांति. जय सद्गुरु.
Thanks again for offering a prayer. Now for the closing, I would like to invite Mr. Vikas for vote of the thanks. Vikas is joining us from Malaysia, Kuala Lumpur. You may also have seen him in our daily practice session. Vikas is IT profession and also love yoga and meditation. Over to you, Vikas ji.
Thank you very much, Om ji. Jai Sadgurudev to everyone. And now today we are discussing about me and my relationship. So let me start with a relationship which we just saw here right now during our session, which is, I mean, the physical relationship I'm telling here, which is between Mr. Pranav and Om ji. Mr. Pranav, who is son of Om ji. And me personally, I'm impressed with the way you have grown up, Mr. Pranav, and I am sure that he's a source of inspiration for a lot of us, and give a message that how we should be helping or guiding our kids in the way of spirituality, in the way of Vihangam Yoga. Thank you, Pranavji, for offering prayers right from the beginning, Swagat Gan, Mangal Gan, and also at the end, Santi part. You have got a melodious voice, and I will not be hesitant to say that you have got the blessing from Sadguru. Stay blessed and keep inspiring others. Thank you very much. Our meeting coordinator, Srinivas ji, you are a business proprietor by profession, and with that, we can understand how busy your schedule will be. You have to manage a lot of things, and that also brings an indication here during our session how perfectly you have managed this session so that we are on time. Everything was managed so nicely, which also again related to a relationship. The way you coordinated here, the way you manage, the way, I mean, you know where exactly to stop, where to continue, how to inspire others. Thank you very much for all your effort for this event making successful. Our panelists, Rita Pandey ji, Dr. Ankur Gupta ji, Vimal ji, and Meghna ji. Out of 4 panelists, I'm hearing 3 of you first time during this session, and I must say that I am pretty much inspired with you. The way you all three of you are very much clear with your voice, with your comments. I will just share a few of the input which you all have given just one by one. Rita Pandiji, your politeness and calm behavior is really influencing. I can say that, okay, you know where exactly you have to comment and where exactly you have to add more inputs. The way you said about the plant and how exactly we need to nurture, and how Vihangam Yoga has helped you to make a better relationship in your life, that's really, really impressive. Thank you very much for your input. Dr. Ankur Gupta ji, you shared few things which I am really inspired, and one was about the perfect line you mentioned about heaven, hell, and anywhere. Yes, a relationship can be anywhere. You also mentioned about the relationship things which about attention and intention, which you related it with present and future. That was also a bit inspiring for me. And then also Srinivas ji mentioned about your that line which you said, nadi kyun meethi hoti hai aur sagar kyun khara hota hai. That's I will always remember this line. Very inspiring. Meghna ji, you said about few things about the matching of the Kundalini and why this is very much important. Yes, I do agree, and I am also I will say in line with you, like, okay, why it is important, and why two persons in the life with kind of different behavior need each other at what stage of their life. That's really inspiring. Thank you very much. And you also mentioned that about the relationship, there is no bad relationship. It's just the situation which is bad and which makes people uncomfortable during that situation. But if we want, we can definitely make it better or even the best in future. Thank you very much for your input. Last but not least, about Vimal ji. Vimal ji, you are with us for quite some time now. I have been hearing you for most of our events, most of our sessions. You have been given important inputs. So thank you very much for all your input. And I would like to thank you for giving some light about, you mentioned awareness, sensibility, and motivation, how these facts are important, how it's influencing us to make a better relationship in our future. Thank you very much. Subhash ji, you all must be knowing about you. I mean, but as I keep saying that I don't want to miss an opportunity to say my thanks to you all the time. And yeah, this is the right time to be vocal a bit. So we have been knowing each other for almost more than a decade, but every day I hear from you, every day I learn something new, and that something is really giving some important aspect of my life to say that yes, today I have learned something very much important which can definitely help me to lead my life peacefully. And the way you said about the first bhajan, khana jana pina jana, yes, I totally agree with that. We all need to know where exactly we need to go. There are relationships which is like a boat, things will on board and it will off board, but where exactly the final destination is, we need to know, we need to understand about it, and then we have to act accordingly. Thank you very much, Shivaji, for always guiding us and giving the right path. Mr. G.R. Podarji, you have been associated with Vihangam Yoga for, I will say, more than 8-9 years, and you have a special blessing of Sadhguru. You are director of Vihangam Yoga, and you always motivate and guide us to be the right path, and how to conduct the sessions and how to have the inspirations. She always pass also the message from Sadhguru. Thank you very much for all your motivation and sharing the guidance. Thank you again. Last but not least, Mr. I will say again the name, Omji and Chandanji. Two people here. As I said last time also, you work in silo, but there is not even a single event of Vihangam Yoga of Singapore which is or which has been conducted without your help. So I am sure everyone knows about you, about your contribution. So I would like to take this opportunity to thank both of you about your hard work, about your dedication, the way you have been working. And I am also blessed to work with you. So stay with us and make me also blessed in future. Thank you very much, both of you. With this, I would also like to thank all the participants here to be patient and listening all the kind words shared by all our panelists, all our meeting coordinators. If you have any kind of input which you like to share with us to motivate us in future, please do share with you, and we will be thank you for your kind input. Thank you very much. With this, I will hand it over to Omji. Omji, over to you.
Thank you, Mr. Vikas, for your dedication and regular support. Last but not the least, as you can see the picture of the survey in the screen, which is called Encyclopedia of Spirituality. This holy book composed by His Excellency Sadhguru Sadafal Devji Maharaj. This book is right now in Hindi. English version will be available very soon. We highly recommend to keep a copy of the survey and read few couplets before you start meditation. So please feel free to contact us to reserve your copy. And after that, there is some announcement, some update for upcoming months. For this, I would like to invite Mr. Subhasji to share some update. Subhasji, over to you.
Thank you very much, Omji. Just quickly, not to hold you for a long time. We are having few activities coming soon in the month of October, as well as in September also, but mostly in October. We are going to have 5th time Swarveda Khanda Path, which roughly takes around 20 to 24 hours. We read the whole Swarved book in only Doha form, not the meaning. And this is a global event where people from different countries all over the world, they participate, and they are assigned different chapters to read through on a specific time. So if any one of you wants to contribute, wants to participate, please let us know. We can accommodate any one of you as if required. The date for this event is on 22nd of October, since it is going to be more than 20 hours, 24 hours. This time, unlike last 4 times, this time we are celebrating the anniversary, 1st anniversary for this activity. We have added 2 new things this time. One is, in the previous time, we were just reading out the couplets, but this time what we thought, it will be much more better to elaborate more on each and every chapter. So every chapter will be summarized maybe within 3 to 5 minutes before the chapter starts. There are 68 chapters in all together, and that's how, and it will be summarized both in English as well as in Hindi. Sorry, it will be summarized in Hindi as well as in English, so that all types of people can understand what exactly Swarved says. And after finishing this reading Swarved activity, we will have the blessings from Sadhguru Uttaradhikari Sant Shri Vigyan Devji Maharaj also, which will be on 23rd after we finish it. So this whole activity would be something around 25 to 26 hours at a stretch continuously. So if you want to contribute in one way or another, please feel free to let us know. Second activity, which we are going to do for the first time in Singapore, is blood donation camp. The time is very critical. It's a Corona time, but still we believe that, what I believe personally is that when we have difficult situation, then someone need to stand at that time point. If we are not strong enough, then how the difficult situation, the adverse situation will pass through. So what I have been thinking, that we have a special date, which is 28th of October, which we celebrate as a birthday of Sant Shri Vigyan Devji Maharaj. And on that day, globally, everywhere, we do the activity of blood donation everywhere. Singapore, we have never done this. So this time what we were thinking to have this activity but we are not doing it on 28th. We are doing it on 30th of October, being a weekend. So we are already in touch with Red Cross Society. We have had a couple of interactions, discussions with them, and they have agreed to provide the support to have this blood donation camp. We are targeting in Singapore roughly around 100 people to donate blood, minimum, something around that. Please, this is not just a Vihangam yoga activity. This is open for everyone and anyone who is eligible to donate the blood. What I was thinking, especially for those who were traveling a lot in past, they have been restricted to donate blood because of different areas they have been traveling to. But during this Corona time, no one is traveling anywhere. Say for myself, I have not been traveled anywhere since last 2 years, almost 2 years. And I am not restricted to not donate blood. Previously, I was, because I used to visit India, I used to visit Indonesia and other countries. So I was not able to donate blood. But right now, I'm very much eligible to donate blood. So please come forward to support this drive. For this reason, we have organized a talk on 3rd of October, which is next Sunday. And this talk is given by Red Cross Society experts, just to let people know what is blood donation, what it means, whether it is safe or not, how it happens. And if any one of you has any question at that time point, you can ask those questions live with them. So this is just an awareness camp kind of thing in terms of talk, so that people can become more comfortable. And thereafter, we will start registration and allotment of the slots for the blood donation camp. And definitely, we will take care of all those Corona-related rules and regulations and restrictions, as we have been discussing with the Red Cross Society, and they are more concerned and aware about all these things to happen. So please make this event as successful as possible. Very soon, each one of you probably receive flyers and other details once the time comes, and you can forward that to anyone and everyone to be a part of this particular drive. Thank you, Omji. Back to you.
Thank you, Subhasji. And do take a note of this page where you can see our social media platform where we are at present right now. And also do take a note of our Zoom link, which is remains same for all the sessions. Also note down the morning and evening session timing, which is 6 a.m. and 8 p.m. for the weekdays, and 8 a.m. and 8 p.m. for the weekends. Kindly visit our website to get a regular update. It is www.vihangam.com, and also visit our YouTube channel where you can see all the previous recording available. Do like, share, subscribe with your friends and your families. And this is all the recorded version for you. So please make use of it. And now if you have any question, please unmute yourself and ask a question. If you have any suggestion, please feel free. Anyone? Any question? Any suggestion? So far, no question. So this is the end of the session. Thank you everyone for your participation, and thank you Chandanji for your IT support. See you in the next session. Till the time, take care, stay healthy, and bye-bye.